Alright guys, such coming again. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day. So far, a dramatic first day of the Esports World Cup in Riyadh. 12 matches played, 4 teams already advancing through to the bracket stage, and drama everywhere you look, especially with regards to the Los Angeles Thieves, or 100 Thieves as they're playing on at this tournament. Dan Ghosty versus Neptune, cheating, snaking, gentleman's agreement related drama going off everywhere this evening, and there's plenty more where that came from to come. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Some surprising results we are going to go through as well. I'm not sure if this graphic that EWC put out today is implying that they're actually going to do a ring for the World Cup, which would be certainly an interesting decision. I'm sure that COD fans would have thoughts on that. But anyway, this was a tweet that went out today, at least in graphical form. Now, I can't spend too much time talking about any of these individual topics because rather a lot happened today. Even this was a talking point. They did this little sit-down piece with Scrap and Drazah, although I think it was very clear from the first couple of seconds that they were not actually in the same room at the same time because they were talking to one another, never mentioning each other by name and never looking one another in the eyes. So I think it was pretty clear that this was pre-recorded content, which of course it turned out to be. At the end of the episode here, or the little thing that they did, you can see that Drazah vanishes into nothingness or whatever, right? They make him fade out of shot, I think, so it kind of goes to show that they were sitting down separately. I thought it was a pretty fun little moment. Scrap says, damn, you guys finessed us, I've got to tip it. And I think there was actually a response from Drazah later on to say, look, we ain't friends. Like, you know, nothing has changed in our relationship there. But let's talk about the big drama at the start of the day, which was the map pool. So, of course, they removed Protocol Hardpoint and brought in Rewinds back again quite a long time ago now, and they turned up today and were told that actually no, Protocol's still in the Hardpoint rotation. So Stanley says, oh, we just scrimmed Rewind for the last 2 months and it was played a lot today, just to be told Protocol's actually back in, which was outrageous. Balance is like, damn, Proto Hardpoint is back in on the day, and all of a sudden the talk around this event being a massive Mickey Mouse tournament, you know, did not go away anytime soon. We then got some further responses as well. Simp was watching this all unfold and say, like, what the hell are you? What do you mean? Protocol's back in the rotation. We were informed of this literally today. And yeah, the tweets were starting to hit the timeline. Protocol Hardpoint's going to be played instead of Rewind. It's back in all of a sudden magically, and they've just made this decision seemingly on a whim. What does make more sense, however, in hindsight, is that actually this was just a mistake and that the rulebook was not updated as it should have been when it was updated in the CDL. And therefore, once they figured this out, they said, okay, all right, fair enough. The admins realized it was a mistake. They've rectified the issue. Rewind is back in. They're playing the map pool they attended to. It did cause some delays. Certainly not the only causes of delays today. I think it was expected given the state of the game. There are some problems making Codcast work and various other things. We're not playing on real LAN. It's been that way for some time. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, we at least had Codcaster. Like, I was kind of expecting worse, I'll be honest, right? Like, with 6 match slots today, I know that it was delayed by a good couple of hours, but I honestly was expecting worse, which maybe doesn't... I didn't have much optimism that day one was going to run smoothly, and it didn't, but it wasn't a complete disaster. There are other more important dramas of the day. This was a very fascinating one. The Spanish fans out there are going crazy. Like, Vamos Heretics, the Spanish fans have a serious contingent, and whether it was on main stage, whether it was on Bravo stage in the second arena, they were bringing the energy for their team, which was really cool to see. But the world champions, they turned up to the event, not considered favourites by the bookies as we talked about, but I mean, look, they did just win the world championship a couple of weeks ago, and this duo continues to astound and amaze, because Huke decided game one to say, Simp, you know, who is this guy? Who are we talking about here? Drops 40 kills game one, and yeah, they're playing 5 Fears, one of the challengers teams, and they got the job done. You know, 5 Fears are reasonably competitive. You guys might remember last year's Esports World Cup, they played Omit Brooklyn first round. I think they lost the Rio Hardpoint to Omit Brooklyn last year before then winning, I think, in 4 maps. Today, OpTic won more convincingly than that in the end, but, you know, both of the respawns were pretty competitive. I don't think it's unexpected that OpTic turn up. You know, you're never necessarily going to come out the gate absolutely slamming, although Huke certainly was. Individually had some huge moments, and then they went to the search and destroy, and clearly, you know, Khan was on the comms behind them. I thought it was actually really cool to see some of the evidence of that, and I'm sure we'll talk about that more in the coming days. But they decided first rounds to do something I've not seen really any team do all year, which was 3-hit Waterside, and it actually worked, and they won the map. map, and they won the series. So OpTic get the 3-0 dub to close out, close out the series and open up the day on the Vault Hassie Vault, and Huke had a 1.41 in the series to get them over the line. So we're just going to go through a load of box scores today, and understandably, Karma was saying how it's kind of interesting for him to be in this situation because he's not always sure what to do all of the time, and that's maybe understandable, but, you know, as he learns and improves and gets better maybe during the course of the weekend in terms of knowing what to say and when, maybe these teams will continue to level up. G2 played Cloud9, and they got absolutely piss slammed. Like, this was bad. Map 1, Kenny had 8 kills, did he? Yeah, 8 in 24, getting out a .33. Gwinn, I will say, you know, having joined this team, he did look pretty comfortable. Like, he turned up to this roster, and it looks like he's having a better time of things anyway than he was before. Dropped to 1.3, Sib at a 1.4, Spart at a 1.5, DoorDash challenge, dealership 6-2, the Hacienda in the end, there was a bit of a fight put up by Kenny, but in the end it came to nothing, and Cloud9 get the dub, so G2 get bopped down to the losers bracket, and then Gentlemates do the same. But actually it was 100 Thieves not winning this game especially emphatically. It was a good series from Ghosty, and we'll certainly talk about Ghosty in a second here. And really, this was the Kismet versus DiamondCon show. Like, unfortunately for Kismet, he was playing bare minimum 3v5, if not maybe 1 versus 7. And he had Matt Money had a 40 bomb. He had a 1.3 over the series. And DiamondCon had a 0.6. I mean, like, it is tough, isn't it, right? DiamondCon usually considered a pretty solid, reliable operator, but replaces FeLo, and, like, you know, FeLo earned 1.6s, right? So that's tough. And, I mean, the dealership they threw away bad. Like, they shouldn't have lost this. DiamondCon planted for the other side and then ran back, which left them in a tough spot, and then they lost the rounds. You know, it was an all bit of a disaster, really. And then the Hassie eventually goes Thieves' way as well. So it is what it is. Thieves get the 3-0 dub, fair enough. And Scrap was afterwards, you know, having some words, let's say, to the fans. But it's not like their day all went to plan. And neither for some of the other big favourites going into the tournament as well. Scrap was pretty honest about things. But of course, he would have been expecting to go into their next series and get the victory there, because they would go on to play the Vancouver Surge. They played Team Orchid. This was a 3-1. It wasn't completely clear-cut. The Search and Destroy went the way of Bantz's team, which is maybe not a massive surprise, but in the respawns, I mean, Nastie, especially on the Game 4, just went nuclear, hit a 2.0 KD pretty much. This is the classic Game 4 Nastie. Nastie must have, I don't know the numbers on this, but Nastie must have, if not the best, one of the best Game 4 records this year. I don't know what it is about Nastie in Game 4, but this guy is unbelievable, and, you know, they just demolish them in the respawns. Bantz with a 0.7, Beans with a 0.8, Mythics with a 0.75. It wasn't pretty. Of course, it will raise some questions on Beans, especially given what Toronto are up to. Inside looked a bit more comfortable with, you know, not having Beans as his duo. With CleanX coming in, abe's been pretty impressive. And yeah, they get the job done against the Falcons. Although I will say, yeah, it was impressive maybe from Toronto, but this was more of a Falcons stinker class, really. Because, yeah, Pred was doing all right, but Exit with a 0.8. And outside of the Search and Destroy that they won, it was an absolute bloodbath, really. And the final map was just tragic. Like, Arcetes had 8 kills for some time. He ends up 12 in 22. So Falcons get absolutely slammed down to the losers bracket. You know, these teams, for now, no one's been eliminated yet. Everyone's still in the tournament, but some teams have advanced, and we'll get to those teams in a second. Kalista says, you know what? Lots I could say, but I'm not going to say it now. So I think what he needs to say is, we're blowing it up in the off-season. Whatever happens over the next couple of days, more than likely anyway. Boston took down Team War. They actually lost the game 1, so fair play to Team War for that one. But unfortunately for Bink, he revealed after the series that he left his, I mean, it's like tragedy, really. Like, this guy, as their coach, subbed in and did a solid job, but he left his controller at the hotel, which is a rookie mistake, which, I mean, he technically is really making his pro debut, right? He used to be a player, but, you know, now he's a coach and he's stepping in for the World Cup. So he had to play on a PS5 controller, and, yeah, it didn't go to plan, really, for him. So it's not like he was actually horrific. He had a 0.8. It actually wasn't, like, it could have been worse. But had he just been a bit better, maybe they would have had a chance. Because Boston, they won the game 2, and then, you know, the protocol was pretty dominant, and the Hacienda was absolutely no doubt. I mean, this is a funny one. Like, how do you get outslayed and still win a hardpoint by like 100 points, like 150 points? Probably shows there's some questionable quality hardpoint being played there. Then Team Heretics, they handled business against Project 7. Stanley had a 0.5. You know, thankfully, to make up for the tech pauses, there were some slamages getting given out today. Stanley had a 0.5, Rencor had a 1.9. Like, this guy and his duo Super, completely undeniable, out of control players. And, you know, they absolutely slammed them in that series. Then we've got to talk about FaZe today, because FaZe are still alive. As we've said, they're not out yet, but there's a world where they very much could have been and maybe could still be, remarkable as that sounds. So FaZe played Challengers team Omit, and Omit, the Challengers World Champions, right? These guys are good for sure, but after they split the first couple of maps, you go to a protocol control and you're very much expecting FaZe to win a proto control. You know, you're difficult to see a world where FaZe, especially FaZe of old, would actually find a way to lose a proto control to a Challengers team, but they do. They get 3-0 slammed by them. They then win the Skyline, they go to a Game 5 protocol, and this was like an unbelievable all-time bottle by Omid. I know it says 6-0 here, but actually you can tell the rounds that Omid won by the rounds that FaZe won, and it was 5-2. Like, they had a 5-2 lead, and Omid bottled it bad, and they lost 6-5 to FaZe. A remarkable series, because like FaZe would never expect or never like want to go so deep against what is still a Challengers team, as good as the Challengers team might be. And for FaZe, I mean, I know Simp said afterwards it was very much a dicey series, but it's still crazy. Like, if Omid had won this series, that might have been it, you know? Like, that genuinely, and it might, I think FaZe will still make changes after this tournament. I would right now be very surprised if they don't, the way that they look, and even obviously losing to Heretics, we'll see in a second here. But if Omid beat them, like, that would be it. Like, Omid had the chance here probably to, by their own hand, end the FaZe era, break up the trio, whatever you want to say. Like, probably this result would have done it. But losing, you know, the Game 5 round 11 obviously keeps FaZe in the spotlight. And then we get some more drama. So, Surge played Thieves. Banger series. Expected to be a banger series, and it was. The rewind hardpoint, Surge get the win there. Abuzah drops 41 in 21. The map 2 rewinds. Thieves bounce back, big map from Envoy. The map 3 control, the guys pick up where they left off, right, and it's Scrap and HyDra with an absolute takeover. Game 4, though, goes back the other way. I know I gassed up Nastie's Game 4, now he drops a 0.7, so, you know, whatever. Forget I ever said that. But thankfully for Surge, Envoy had a 0.4, and Scrap had a 0.6, which you don't see every day. HyDra tried his best, but like Envoy got slammed bad, and then the Game 5 was a takeover from really 0-4, and Nastie made up for his Game 4, and Thieves go down 6-2. Now, there was a lot of drama about this series, and as I say, the teams are not eliminated yet. For some reason, this clip here isn't loading for me, but in the replies, you can see, you know, what's being said here, right? Ghosty standing up and saying you should be ashamed of yourself, like he's giving it to them large across the other side of the stage. He's talking into the, you know, the controller mic and all this, and this was over some GA breaking, right? So Neptune and Ghosty had a bit of a chat about this. Rambo comes over, Ghosty's clearly not very happy about it. Neptune's like, I don't know what you want me to say. And it was all because of, well, it wasn't because of this. This is kind of funny though. Surge in a tweet, they Jolt smashes a case, and then 100T lose the series. But Ghosty says, didn't play well today at all. Play super late tomorrow for our ticket to bracket play. Throwing GAs out the window since no one seems to respect them though. And then, you know, Beans did his tweet, stair glitching and snaking is dirty, dirty. So apparently this is the moment. So Neptune goes here. This apparently is considered to be a stair glitch. I mean, he doesn't even get a kill from it, right? Like, I don't know. I'm a little bit confused here by what I would see as a bit of an overreaction from Ghosty and the Thieves. I know that maybe there were a couple of pumps getting thrown in, and to be fair, Sid was doing it against OpTic as well. And there was a feeling that, well, last event of the season, what are you going to do? Break the GAs? Well, unlucky, sunshine. What are you going to do? Cancel my scrims? Like, this is the final tournament. So, but this apparently was it, right? Like, this is, I mean, Ghosty says, look, he was stair glitching. So apparently laying down here and using this as cover is like stair glitching somehow. Look, maybe this is a G8 spot. Maybe fair enough, but Neptune kind of denies it. He also denies that he was snaking. It's not like he even got a kill from this. So, you know, and obviously people were also pointing out that it's not like Thieves are immune from similar drama, right? Earlier this season, HyDra blatantly stair glitched on Skyline and got away with it, right? So, you know, it was all going on. Neptune then puts out a video sideways, and okay, it's like 15 seconds long, so if you want to turn your head around, feel free to do. I feel like my head's, you know, like already moving with it here. But he watches this back from his POV, and as you guys can kind of tell, as I'm kind of watching this in real time, that, you know, he wasn't snaking in his screen, right? This is the clip here from his perspective at the ends, when, you know, okay, maybe he's crouching up and down a little bit, but this is not, you know, snaking by the rules, right? So maybe, you know, it's pretty interesting. Neptune says, well, I wasn't really doing it, I don't know what you're talking about. And yeah, just big drama, right? I mean, I think it's an interesting one for Thieves, because if they do bomb out of this tournament, like if they don't get the result that they want this event, they will have to consider roster changes. And it's just interesting that Ghosty is being very vocal about this again. And, you know, I don't know what the Thieves guys will think about it, right? But at the end of the day, they didn't lose because Neptune popped a stay glitch and didn't get any kills from it, right? Like, you can think what you want about the ethics of that or whatever, but, you know, you just got to get better at the end of the day if they want to start making a run in this tournament. And get better is what OpTic have done this season, and here they are again. They get a clean 3-0 against Cloud9. Now, this was a bit of a snaking moment, right? I mean, look, Sib gets the first kill, spins around, pops, was that a couple of pumps? Maybe things are getting pretty grey area now. This was a crazy series, though. I'm still not quite sure how OpTic actually won this. This was the control at the end. They were down heavy in lives on the round 5. I thought, okay, it's going to go to a game 4, but they actually just straight up stacked the point. And Gwinn eventually gets traded by Mercules, and Spart goes down, and Mercules just kind of did it all over the first couple of kills. This round one basically came from nowhere. And OpTic 3-0 Cloud9. The game 1 was pretty comfortable. Mercules masterclass really on the rewind. Then game 2 was pretty back and forth, but in the end OpTic had a bit too much. Shotzzy with 15. And then game 3, Cloud9 will feel like they should have won this one, but they did not. So as Shotzzy says, day 1 finish, bracket play next, let's get it. And the series that I wanted to mention just as we close out the video is this one, where Team Heretics have just taken down Atlanta FaZe after the sketchy series, to say the least, against Omit earlier in the day. FaZe then go down. I mean, look, losing both hard points, lost the rewinds. It used to be a pretty good map for them. They lost at 251.75. They bounced back in the search, but then they lost to HyDra control. Drazah with a 0.4. And then the map 4 was, to be fair, an absolute bloodbath. I'll talk about the Toronto versus Boston series tomorrow because, like, I think 11 series is probably enough to talk about for one video. But FaZe going down, right? I mean, it's a big talking point. They tried a comeback. There was nearly a comeback. I mean, this was kind of Zuma's POV reaction to it when FaZe looked like they were going to make it all the way back. And then in the end, I mean, maybe I'll just go out of full screen here so you guys can see exactly what unfolded with the timestamps on the screen as well. But, you know, FaZe had all the opportunities in the world here to make the comeback, but in the end, it's the Heretics boys that break in and they get the victory to the light of their fans in the crowd. As Simp says, GG's Miami, lost 1-3, low-key insane series. Last group match tomorrow. So it's not over by any means. The teams can still make the bracket, and once you make the bracket, it's single elimination, right? But still. And look, Heretics could definitely beat FaZe. We know that they've been very competitive as of late, but still, the way that today unfolded in many respects was absolutely remarkable. And Real just popped this tweet on the timeline: people would rather play for a positive KD than for the win. So yeah, make of that what you will. So very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.